Hello everybody. We're here a bit early with our blend for the autumn equinox because we're going away very shortly. We're going to have 2 weeks touring Scotland, visiting prehistoric sacred sites and the like, and so we won't be back until the actual day of the equinox, which this year is the 22nd of September. So I thought maybe plenty of advanced notice and put together a blend for the autumn equinox before I go. So you can gather your ingredients and maybe dry whatever needs to be dried and prepare your incense well in advance. So, as usual, we'll look first at the energies and the underlying energies of the autumn equinox, and then we'll pull out 1 or 2 themes, and from those themes we will choose our ingredients. So, the autumn equinox is when the sun enters Libra, which is the sign of the scales, the sign of balance, and the equinox, as it suggests, is in fact a time of balance. It's a pause where the sun seems to pause before the descent into winter, and the autumn equinox really is the gateway to winter, and it prepares us for the time when we become more introspective, where we turn to the inner works, where we slow down and reflect, and maybe sow seeds and make plans for the next growing season in the spring. All of the harvest is gathered in physically, our physical harvest. What's left are ripening fruits, nuts, berries, and of course this is the time of year of mushrooms. So there are still things to be gathered, there are things to be preserved for the winter, there is still work to do, but it's all about winding down, it's all about letting go, it's all about releasing and moving into the next phase of energy, which is the winter energy, really, the energy of the dark time. It's a time to celebrate also, it's a time to celebrate our achievements on a physical plane and on a more spiritual plane, and also of course the physical harvest. We've been busy over the last few weeks making jams and chutneys. We're about to pick all the remaining apples to store them for the winter, and we have pears and we have plums to gather in still. But the sap is moving down in the plants, and the root energy brings a time of sleep, rest, when life goes within to the dark womb of the spiritual world, which is a time to set intentions, to incubate plans and ideas throughout the dark months. It's also a time to let go, it's a time of release. It's a time, I always think that the leaves turning yellow and falling from the trees reminds us that we don't need to hang on to things that no longer serve us. Maybe there are projects that you were hoping to do this year which you've not quite got round to, or you've not quite completed, and perhaps this is the time to release those, to let them go, to let go anything that no longer serves us. And I think the falling leaves is nature's reminder that we are allowed to let go, we are allowed to release. But also there's the celebration of the harvest, there's a celebration of things that we've achieved in our spiritual lives, in our physical lives, friendship, family, creative achievements. There is that celebration also to take place. So taking from those sort of underlying energies of the autumn equinox, I've pulled out balance, release, change, moving into the next phase of energy, gratitude for abundance and sharing that abundance. And what we've got to represent all of those, I've chosen 2 incense resins for this particular one. I've chosen frankincense for abundance. The god is getting ready to go down into the underworld, and this is all about drawing within, and we're entering the dark time. So I wanted to put some myrrh in. I will use myrrh, I do use myrrh as the base resin for my Samhain incense, but I really felt that I wanted the energy of myrrh into the autumn equinox. So I'm going to put a little bit of myrrh in. And they're for sort of abundance, and you know, physically an incense needs a good resin base. For balance, this time I've chosen patchouli leaf. If you don't have patchouli leaf, you can substitute patchouli oil as one of, as your oil content. For release, I've got some cypress or cypress-like sort of evergreen tree. For change, we have a little bit of cinnamon, which I've already sort of broken up in the pestle and mortar. And for abundance, sharing, gratitude, friendships, I'm going to use rose. And despite the fact that it is expensive, I'm also going to put a few drops of rose oil in the blend. So we'll start then, as is usual, with 1 part of frankincense in the pestle and mortar, and then we'll put, I think, probably about half a part of myrrh, and then we'll give that an initial sort of stir and break up. And remember, this time of the breaking things up and taking time to stir them in your pestle and mortar is a time to actually meditate on the importance, the energies of the season, and to put some intention into your incense blend. Bit of that's escaped. So that's the myrrh, the frankincense, and then I'm going to put about 1/4 of a part of patchouli leaf in there, and I'm going to snip some cypress, into the blend, just a big pinch, because it's very fragrant cypress. Lemony. And then I'm going to put, what's this? It's about 1/4 of a part of cinnamon bark, which has already been crushed up. You can, if you prefer, you can use powdered cinnamon if you like, that's fine, just an ordinary spice off the shelf of the supermarket. I prefer to use the bark and crush it, but it's perfectly okay. And we'll give it another little stir. And finally, we'll pop in, a part, I think we'll have a part of rose petals, and then that's what it's looking like. And to moisten it down, pure rose oil. You don't need, I mean, as your oil, you could use cypress, you could use patchouli, you could use cinnamon. You can substitute. Obviously, you're not going to put all 4 or 5 oils in. You're only going to choose 1 oil or 2 at the most, and a drop of each. But you can substitute if you don't have any of the ingredients. Say, for example, patchouli leaf or cypress. You can substitute those with the oil. I'm just going for, I don't know, there's some sort of intuition that's leading me to want rose in this blend. I think it's to do with the celebration of abundance and friendship and sharing. and, you know, harvest. I think that's what's leading me to want to put rose in there. Rose oil is very thick, so it does take a while to come out of the bottle. Very thick, very expensive, but lovely. There we are. 3 drops. Be extravagant. There we go. And a final stir around, and then that is going to be jarred, remember, preferably in an amber or a coloured jar so that the light doesn't get to it. That's going to be allowed to amalgamate. It's got plenty of time to amalgamate before using at the autumn equinox. So that's it. Obviously we shall be back with a Samhain blend. We don't have anything to video before then, but there we are. There's our autumn equinox and the blessings of the season to you all. Thank you. Bye.